What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Mid-Level Media channel, your hub for everything physical media and entertainment. I am Ken, and today, guys, look, I talk about 4Ks a lot on this channel. I do talk about Blu-rays as well, but I decided today, look, I want to help some people out. If you're just getting in to collecting, maybe you got a few Blu-rays in your collection, maybe you got a couple of 4Ks as well. Hell, maybe you're still collecting DVD and you're looking to get into collecting Blu-rays. I want to help you guys build an awesome, incredible Blu-ray collection, and I want you to do it without breaking the bank as well. So we're going to build one of the best Blu-ray collections of all time ever for under $100, or right at $100. And who knows, maybe some of these prices could go down by the time I put this video out. I will link all the Blu-rays that I talk about in this video down below in the description. And some of these Blu-rays that I'm going to talk about do have 4Ks, and I can also see them getting 4Ks on the horizon. But some of these that do have 4Ks, you know, they're good 4Ks. I would definitely recommend the jump, but I don't think that you absolutely need the 4Ks in your collection. And one of these 4Ks, or one of the Blu-rays that I'm talking about, has a 4K that everybody seemed to not like. I liked it, but some people seem to not like it. So we're going to talk about Blu-rays. I am going to build you, like I said, one of the best Blu-ray collections for right at $100. But before we get into it, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. We talk about all things physical media here on this channel. We talk about Blu-rays, we talk about 4Ks, we talk about owning the movies that you love, all that stuff there behind me every single day here on this channel. Another thing that I want to call out is if you've been collecting Blu-rays and 4Ks for a very long time, you're likely going to have some of these movies already in your collection, but some of them you might not. So you may find this helpful as well. And a lot of these are very cheap right now on Amazon. There's very few in here that I'm going to go over that are over $10. I think there's one in here that's over $10. But let's go ahead and get it right into it, guys. Let's start with a Quentin Tarantino movie, just one of the best filmmakers of all time. He's one of my personal favorite filmmakers, and I'm pretty sure he's like everybody's personal favorite filmmaker. Everybody loves Tarantino, but I'm going to recommend Django on Blu-ray. This is one of his best movies. Like, I love Django so much. It's definitely in my top 5 Tarantino. And some days it's in my top 3. Like, this is such a good movie. Jamie Foxx, like Leonardo DiCaprio as Calvin Candy, just one of the best movie villains of the 21st century. But this is going right now, guys, for $350 on Amazon. So it's an absolute steal for the Blu-ray of Django. Now, I just talked about this potentially coming to 4K at some point, and I think it will look incredible on 4K if they do it right. But if you're just starting, guys, like I said, you're just starting, getting into collecting, you don't want to break the bank, get Django on Blu-ray for $350. It's absolutely worth the price of admission. And next up, guys, I've got all kinds of movies here, guys, different genres, different time periods. We got newer movies, and look, I think you need to have Anaconda in your collection. This is a movie from 1997, and I think this movie's aged really well. I watched it 3 or 4 years ago. It holds up. It's got J-Lo in it. It's got Ice Cube. It's got freaking Jon Voight, and just one of the best Jon Voight performances of all time, depending on which way you look at it. But it's a really fun creature feature. The CGI for the snake doesn't age the best, but there's some parts of the movie that actually does age pretty well. So when they decided to do more practical stuff with the snake. But I still think it's a really fun creature feature. If you haven't seen Anaconda, it's available right now for $4 on Amazon, this Mill Creek release. You can't beat that, guys. Anaconda for $4 on Blu-ray. And you got to have some comedy in your collection, guys. You got to have Waterboy with Adam Sandler. This is one of the greatest comedies of the 90s. Absolutely love Waterboy. It's fantastic. If you haven't seen Waterboy, this is definitely not my personal favorite Adam Sandler comedy. That's The Wedding Singer, but it's damn close to my top 5 Adam Sandler movies. It's so hilarious. And this is only $4 right now on Blu-ray. It's ridiculous. Let's talk about Heat. So this is the one that I'm talking about that was on 4K. You can get Heat right now for $4. And look, you just need to have this movie in your collection. It's one of the greatest crime thrillers of all time, directed by Michael Mann. Al Pacino and Robert De Niro are just like two of the greatest actors of all time, going toe to toe in this movie like they never have before, or this movie and after this movie. They've been in movies together before and after, but they have never gone toe to toe with their performances like they do in Heat. Like the diner scene in this movie is so fantastic, but it's almost 3 hours. It doesn't feel that way at all. Like the street shootout sequence is breathtaking. Val Kilmer's great in this movie as well. And $4 is a steal to get one of the greatest movies of all time in your collection. Yes, it has a 4K, and last I checked, the 4K was actually pretty cheap at $8. But if you're, like I said, if you're just getting into collecting Blu-ray, and maybe you don't have a 4K TV, I think that this Blu-ray looks great as well. And yeah, you just need to watch this movie. You need to own it in your collection. You need to have it. Heat is a banger for sure. And again, $4 for that. Let's talk about Arachnophobia, another great creature feature from the 90s, 1990 to be exact. I love Arachnophobia. You got Jeff Daniels, you got John Goodman in this movie. I think it's super. Look, if you're afraid of spiders, this movie's not going to help you at all. Like it's super fun. It's not ridiculous like Eight-Legged Freaks is, but like it's more grounded in reality. Like yes, the spiders are like super poisonous, and like with one tiny bite, like they kill people instantly. So it's a little ridiculous in that aspect, but the way that they portray it, like you could totally buy that spiders like this do exist in the world, and I'm sure that they do. But I love Arachnophobia. I think it's one of the greatest films from the 90s. And it's actually scary. Like I said, if you're afraid of spiders, this movie's not going to help. And if you're not afraid of spiders, you will be after you watch this movie. Arachnophobia is fantastic. You can get it on Blu-ray, guys, for $6 right now. Let's talk about one of the best A24 films, Ex Machina. Highly recommend you add this movie to the collection. This movie came out in 2015. I love it. It's got Alicia Vikander in it, who plays an AI robot, and it's got Domhnall Gleeson. It's got Oscar Isaac. Just some great performances in this film, and the ending will leave your jaw on the floor. Like, I love Ex Machina. I think it's one of the greatest science fiction films of the 21st century, and you can get this on Blu-ray right now, guys. One of the greatest science fiction films of the 21st century on Blu-ray for $8. Like, it's a steal, guys. You're not going to get the slipcover with it probably now, but $8 for Ex Machina is a steal. You got to add Warrior to your collection. You can get this for $5 right now on Blu-ray. Now, yes, it does have a 4K. It does have a 4K Lionsgate Steelbook as well. But if you just want to get the Blu-ray in your collection of this, one of the greatest like sports drama movies of the 21st century, like this movie, to me, I'm not going to say it's as good as the Rocky films. I'm not going to say that. But to some people, I could actually see, if you don't have that nostalgia for Rocky, thinking this is actually better. And I do understand that point of view, even though I don't share it. Rocky's just one of the greatest film franchises of all time to me. But this is a damn good movie. Joel Edgerton, you got Tom Hardy in this movie, Nick Nolte giving one of the best performances in his entire career. This one came out in 2011. I think it's super underrated. I think that a lot of people are coming around to it now, but it's got drama, it's got heart, it's got emotion. Like you're in tears by the time you get to the end of this movie. Some of the scenes are just breathtaking, and some of the fight sequences are awesome as well. So yeah, Warrior is a banger. Like this movie is for UFC. It's like what Rocky did for boxing, this movie I feel like did for the UFC. So Warrior's fantastic. If you haven't seen it, you can get it for $5 on Blu-ray. Let's talk about, look, I still got this one in the wrap. I think the last time I watched it was on DVD actually, but this to me is the greatest horror film of the 2000s, not the 2010s, but the 2000s, and that's The Descent on Blu-ray. You can get this for $9. This is one of the more pricier Blu-rays, but if you are into horror films, like this is one of the greatest ones about this group of splunkers, the all-female splunkers that go down this cave system, and it's so claustrophobic. Like the movie's almost a horror film before you even run into the monsters in the movie. But when you get to the monster part, like it's just like they encounter these like cave dwellers, underground cave dwellers that have been like, they're like humanoid, but they're like, you know, creatures. And it's scary. Like I remember seeing this movie in the theaters and I was just freaked out, and I love this movie. I think the performances are outstanding. The creature designs are really cool, and it's one of the better horror films of the 21st century. So absolutely recommend The Descent on Blu-ray for $9. It needs a 4K. It needs a special like boutique edition, Second Sight or somebody needs to do that for sure. Who Framed Roger Rabbit's one of my personal favorite movies of all time. Directed by the legendary Robert Zemeckis, same guy who did Back to the Future. He did this, I think, the same year, or maybe the year before. I think this was 1988, actually. Either 1988 or 1989, but he did it around the same time he was doing the Back to the Future movies. But I love this movie. It's a kind of a detective noir story, but it's an animated live action film as well. And it was one of the first like big movies to kind of blend live action and animation together, and it just does it so seamlessly. And they just don't make movies like Who Framed Roger Rabbit anymore. And they actually got the permission to use Mickey Mouse and Bugs Bunny in the same movie, so it's really cool for that aspect as well. But Roger Rabbit, if you're just thinking to yourself, it's a fun, kids movie from the 80s, I don't really need to watch this, you're wrong. This is so much more than a kids movie. You need to watch Who Framed Roger Rabbit from 1988, I believe, directed by Robert Zemeckis. It's a banger. You can get it on Blu-ray for $5 right now. I also got to talk about Nocturnal Animals. This movie came out in 2016, so it's a more recent film, but this is an extremely dark thriller starring Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams. And I'm very serious when I say dark. There are scenes in this movie that make me extremely uncomfortable. And the opening to this film also, like, I can look, if you watch this and you're like, Ken recommended me this great movie, I'm going to watch it, I'm going to pop it in. Just get through that first 3 minutes and don't think I'm a weirdo for recommending this movie. It's a great film. It's got great performances. I think Jake Gyllenhaal and Amy Adams are just absolutely fantastic in this movie. And you can get it for $7.50 on Blu-ray right now on Amazon. So I think it's a great movie, guys. It's one that I don't think it's talked about enough. Nocturnal Animals is fantastic. And we got to talk about one of the greatest Coen Brothers films. I think it probably is the greatest Coen Brothers film. And it is a Best Picture winner as well. This is No Country for Old Men. It needs a 4K desperately. I am anxiously awaiting the day that they finally announce this movie to come to 4K. But right now, guys, it's just on Blu-ray. And you can get this for $10 on Blu-ray, which is a little bit more pricey than some of the other stuff that I'm talking about. But I think this movie is so great that if you haven't seen it, you need to add it into your collection. And it's the perfect like drama. And it definitely has themes of Westerns in it as well. It's not a straight up Western. It's more of what they call a neo Western, which is kind of like a new age Western. It's set in modern times. But Javier Bardem, this is really where he got, I don't want to say his start. I'm sure he was acting for like years before this movie, but this is where he got everybody's attention in the role of Anton Chigurh, which is just one of the greatest movie villains of the 21st century. He is so fantastic in this film. Tommy Lee Jones is here. Josh Brolin's in the film as well. So just a fantastic film. If you haven't seen No Country for Old Men, it is great. You have to get it. You have to watch it. $10 on Blu-ray right now. I'm also going to talk about another Amy Adams film from 2016. Like, she was killing it in 2016. This is one of my personal favorite science fiction films of all time, and that is Arrival. You can get this on Blu-ray right now. There is a 4K available, but I actually don't have the 4K in my collection. I only have this. This is available for $10 right now on Amazon. And again, it's a little bit pricey, but I think that this movie is so worth it to add to your collection. If you're a fan of science fiction films, this is an alien invasion movie, but it has a very different spin on that genre. Like, it's not the traditional aliens coming down to take over the world kind of thing. It's more cerebral. It kind of, it gets in your head a little bit, and there's some things that happen. It's very emotional towards the end of this film, that just the complete like mind F, but also like it just, the way it hits you, you're just like in tears by the time you get to the end of this film. And I absolutely love it. Think Contact from 1997, which is another great movie, Robert Zemeckis movie that you should own in your collection. Think more along those lines. Contact with Jodie Foster. Again, not exactly that, but kind of like that. It's not an alien invasion film in the traditional sense. It's really something more, but what it is honestly better than any of those other movies. Jeremy Renner's in this film, Forrest Whitaker, so it's got a great cast. Recommend Arrival so much, guys. You need to have that in your Blu-ray collection for sure. And we're not done, guys. Look, I've already recommended so many great movies to your Blu-ray collection. Weird Science on Blu-ray, guys. This is available right now, this Arrow Blu-ray edition. This is the only boutique that I am recommending here. And only because I think you need to learn about some of the boutique labels that are out there. This is $12.99 currently on Amazon, but Weird Science is just one of my favorite John Hughes movies, if not my favorite John Hughes movies. It's one of the best movies from the 80s. Absolutely love this film. So you need to add this one to your collection. Like I said, $12.99. Ever since that 4K was announced for Weird Science, the price has went down drastically. So you won't get this slipcover for it, but just this regular Blu-ray. It's got tons of special features. And you may be saying to yourself, look, it's a 4K scan as well. You may be saying to yourself, I remember that movie. I remember watching that on TV when I was a kid, or on VHS when I was a kid. I want to add that to the collection. It's about two young teenage boys that create a beautiful woman on their computer. It's such a relatable story, especially if you're a guy, but also a girl as well. You can imagine creating like a hot Chris Hemsworth type character on your computer when you're younger. But this is a great movie. I love Weird Science. Kelly LeBrock is just something else in this film. It's also got Robert Downey Jr., very young Robert Downey Jr. in this movie. Again, $13 for that Blu-ray from Arrow Video. All right, we got two more guys to talk about. We got to have Mrs. Doubtfire in our Blu-ray collection, one of my personal favorite comedies of all time. I love this movie. It's my favorite Robin Williams film. If you don't know what Mrs. Doubtfire is by now, I just feel sorry for you. It's $5 on Blu-ray. Definitely add that to the collection. And we got to talk about, look, another great horror film from the 2010s. I love this movie. The Conjuring is one of the greatest horror films of all time. I think it ages very well. I think it's going to continue to age well and just become one of those landmark horror films. Right now, guys, you can get this for $6 and add it to your Blu-ray collection. So there you have it, guys. That is 15 Blu-rays to add to your Blu-ray collection for $100. And again, I will leave all the links for purchase down below in the description. So hope you guys enjoyed this. Again, if you're just getting into collecting Blu-rays, I hope that helped you out. And again, if you already have a big Blu-ray and 4K collection, I hope I turned you on to some good hidden gems and gave you some good movie recommendations to check out. Again, I will link all those down below in the description. So thank y'all so much for watching. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, turn on those bell notifications, leave some comments down below, and follow me on all my social media accounts. Those links are down below in the description, and we'll see you next time.